As soon as the prodigy agrees to lose to his rival for $100,000, his boss goes around town to gather funds for the bet. After collecting half of the bet holdings from one associate in the morning, the boss meets up with another to collect the rest. During the meeting, he promises to refund the associate whether or not the prodigy wins, and after the meeting, the boss gives one of his recruits to place the bet for the prodigy to lose. Soon, the day of the fight comes, and when the boss reminds the prodigy of their deal, the prodigy brushes him off and leaves to face his rival. The rivals resume their stance, and the associate, after laying down ground rules, calls the beginning of the fight. Instead of throwing the first punch, the rival tries to intimidate the prodigy until he gets smacked in the head. Punches follow the head smack, and the prodigy hits and kicks the rival to the ground, surprising the associates and his boss. After gathering himself from the floor, the rival asks the prodigy to come at him again. One morning, Shawn resumes at his usual spot by the roadside to sell his wares without realizing that he's being watched by Harvey, a street hustler, and his boys. After Shawn sets up his wares, a lady branches to patronize him, but she notices that Shawn's goods are counterfeits. So while Shawn is trying to convince her that his goods are original, Ajax, one of Harvey's boys, surrounds Shawn to harass him. When the other boys join Ajax to harass him, Shawn recognizes that he's being set up, so he tries to gather his wares, but before he can, Ray, one of Harvey's boys, attempts to steal Shawn's money. Realizing he's being robbed, Shawn snaps and beats up anybody within eyesight. But after a few minutes of beating Ajax and the others up, Z, another boy under Harvey, snatches Shawn's money, and Shawn leaves the other boys to chase after Z. The following evening, Shawn is on his way home from restocking new wares when he spots Harvey and Z in a shop. Refusing to let go of his stolen money, Shawn walks into the shop to demand his money, but Harvey denies being involved in the robbery. Regardless of Harvey's denial, Shawn hijacks money from Harvey's wallet and leaves the shop. After Shawn leaves the shop, Harvey chases after him to not only introduce himself, but to pitch a $5,000 street fighting gig to Shawn, which Shawn agrees to almost immediately. The next day, Shawn links up with Harvey and Z in the street to meet with Jack, one of Harvey's associates who is in charge of fixing fights. And even though Jack doesn't like Shawn's attitude, he agrees to fix Shawn in a fight. The following evening, Harvey introduces Shawn to Ajax and the others, and regardless of their chaotic first impressions of each other, Shawn welcomes Ajax's friendly greeting. After the introduction, Shawn arrives at the location and tries to intimidate the opponent with his eyes. But the instant the fight begins, Shawn's opponent attacks immediately and sends Shawn to the floor after the first set of punches. Gathering himself from the floor, Shawn tries to fight, but his opponent dodges him and hits Shawn several times. While Shawn's opponent is hitting Shawn, Harvey watches Shawn try to fight back, but, unfortunately for Shawn, his opponent overpowers him again. Despite being overpowered, Shawn musters his last strength and finally manages to knock his opponent out. Because Shawn's opponent has passed out, Shawn is declared the winner, and while Harvey celebrates Shawn's victory, Jake approaches Harvey to invite Shawn to his exclusive club. In the club, Harvey introduces Shawn to the people around. And just as Shawn settles down with a random girl, Martinez, another of Harvey's associates, pops up from nowhere to try to steal Shawn from Harvey's agency. But Martinez's offer annoys Harvey, and when Harvey protests against it, Shawn leaves them to woo Zuli, a lady he saw in the fight. Unfortunately for him, Zuli doesn't play along with his advances, so Shawn returns to Harvey to discuss his next fight. After Shawn sets up his next fight, he settles down to relax, but before he can, Evan, one of Shawn's rivals from the past, approaches Shawn to bully him. Evan's bullying attempts only rile Shawn up, and right before Shawn gets violent, Harvey intervenes to defuse the situation. Instead of backing off, Evan insults Harvey and tries to bait Shawn into a fight, but Shawn leaves before things get ugly. Deciding to let Evan's insults go, Harvey meets up with Shawn to ask him about Evan. After admitting to Harvey that Evan was a former friend turned rival, Shawn leaves to try his luck again with Zuli, but Zuli declines his advances. The following morning, Harvey convinces Shawn to crash on his couch after learning that Shawn is homeless. At night, Shawn arrives at the location and prepares himself for the fight. Without waiting for the fight to be called, Shawn's opponent tries to intimidate Shawn, but Shawn blocks all his punches and lands a heavy blow. As the monstrous man falls to the floor, the crowd cheers Shawn on. The cheers motivate Shawn, but when he bends to finish his opponent off, his opponent takes over and puts him in a chokehold. Refusing to let Shawn pass out in the chokehold, Ajax kicks Shawn's opponent, But Ajax's action transforms the fight into a road rage where Harvey has to steal a gun to secure their escape. The next morning, Shawn convinces Zully to grab breakfast with him. But after seeing how much eating out costs, Shawn lies that he isn't hungry. Shawn's lie causes a vibe shift, so he buys a toy for Zully's daughter in an attempt to revive the ruined vibe. But his attempt only makes things more awkward. After Zully leaves, Shawn returns home to discuss his next fight with Harvey. But when Harvey asks Shawn to lose on purpose, Shawn refuses and threatens to leave Harvey for Martinez. Pissed at Shawn's threat, Harvey kicks Harvey out. But after a few minutes, he goes back to Shawn and agrees to do things Shawn's way. Later that evening, Harvey links up with Martinez and the other associates, while Shawn is getting ready for his fight. When Shawn finishes preparing, his opponent arrives and lands a couple of blows easily. Recovering from the blows, Shawn tries to fight back, but soon enough, his opponent resumes beating him to a pulp. Real quick, Shawn finds himself in a triangular chokehold. But to Harvey's surprise, Shawn turns the situation around and puts his opponent in a chokehold until he passes out. After Shawn's opponent passes out, there's a vibe shift in the room, but Harvey, alongside his boys, who are unaware of the shift in atmosphere, jubilates over Shawn's win. To celebrate their victory, Harvey drops Shawn and the boys off at the club. But at the entrance, Shawn runs into Evan, who tries to bully him again. Refusing to let Evan bully him, Shawn shoves, but before the push results in a fight, Zully and Evan's bodyguards intervene and drag their respective people away. While Evan's guards drag Evan away, Zully drags Shawn into her house. In Zully's house, Zully's grandma argues with Zully over bringing a man home. While Zully calms her down, Zully's daughter approaches Shawn. Seeing this, Zully leaves her grandma to take her daughter to bed, and she quickly returns to save Shawn from her grandma's criticism. Still in Zully's house, Shawn properly introduces himself to Zully before admitting he wants to kiss her. In response, Zully drags Shawn to a hidden spot, but right before they kiss, Zully's grandma interrupts them and kicks Shawn out of the house. After getting kicked out of Zully's house, Shawn returns home to rub his victory in Harvey's face, but Harvey, who isn't entertaining Shawn's jokes, asks Shawn to turn around while he gathers his pay. Despite being disappointed over Harvey's distrust, Shawn turns around, and while Harvey fetches the money, Shawn tells him about his fascination with Zully before teasing Harvey over his lack of trust. While laughing at Shawn's teases, Harvey hands Shawn their agreed-upon pay, and after Shawn confirms the amount, Shawn tells Harvey they can rack up some good cash if they fight full-time. On the other hand, Zully runs Shawn's name in a search engine and discovers that Shawn was kicked out of his sports team after beating up his coach, who also happens to be his father. The following morning, Harvey visits Zully at her workplace and warns her to leave Shawn alone, but the conversation goes south real quick. Meanwhile, Shawn is at home with Harvey's boys, watching Evan fight in a tournament. When one of the boys belittles Shawn's fighting skills, Shawn feels his emotions go dark over the comparison. Later that night, Harvey meets up with the associates to set up another fight for Shawn, but to Harvey's surprise, the associates offer a $100,000 payout if Shawn fights and loses to Evan. The offer tempts Harvey enough for him to agree, but when Harvey informs Shawn about the deal, Shawn immediately disagrees and tries to hit Harvey mid-argument. All of a sudden, Harvey asks Shawn if he wants to beat him up as he did to his father, and Shawn warns Harvey to keep his father out of his mouth before walking away. After walking away from Harvey, Shawn visits Zully and offers to help her sort her house bills, but Zully refuses. Despite Zully's refusal, Shawn kisses her, and Zully caves into his advances. Hours later, Zully admits that she researched Shawn's past, and Shawn decides to reveal that he and Evan were partners training under his father years ago, but one day, he got into a fight with Evan. And when his father tried to separate them, he lost control and beat him up with Evan, and after the incident, he got kicked out of his father's team, and his father never forgave him. After hearing Shawn's side of the story, Zully suddenly tries to rush Shawn out of her house, but Harvey runs into them by the door. Seeing Harvey in Zully's house makes Shawn suspicious, and when he tries to get an explanation from Zully, Harvey interjects. Harvey's interjection ignites Shawn's blind rage, and just before Shawn loses his senses, Harvey reveals that Zully is also one of his recruits.
I want to talk to her. I want to talk to her! Get out of my head!
After Shawn walks out on Zully and Harvey, Zully looks for him the following day to explain that nothing is going on between her and Harvey. And after listening to Zully's explanation, Shawn returns home to let Harvey know he's cool with losing on purpose to Evan. With Shawn now on board with the deal, Harvey rounds up all the bet holdings and hands them to Zully, who deposits them at the associate's office. The following night, the associate calls the beginning of the fight, and the moment Evan tries to intimidate Shawn knocks him over and rushes him with punches. After Evan gathers himself from the punches, he charges at Shawn and beats the crap out of him. While Evan beats Shawn up, he decides to put him in a chokehold, but luckily for Shawn breaks free and pushes Evan out of the fighting space. In the other space, Evan manages to put Shawn in a chokehold again. And the moment the crowd assumes Shawn is about to pass out, Shawn breaks free. After breaking free, Shawn musters all his strength and beats Evan up until Evan passes out. Realizing that Evan's passing out means that Shawn has broken the deal, the associates, alongside Harvey, throw Shawn death glares while the crowd fizzles out. The following day, Shawn goes to Harvey's to tell him about the $1 million bet he and Zully secretly placed for his win. After confirming Shawn's claims, Harvey, who was bummed over Shawn breaking their deal, suddenly finds his humor again. Seeing as Harvey has warmed up to him again, Shawn offers Harvey a chance to leave the city and start over, which he accepts immediately. And just like Harvey, Zully and her family join Shawn on his mission to start over again. Despite agreeing to lose to Evan, Shawn shocks everyone by winning the fight regardless of the possible aftermath. Do you think the big win will make Shawn drop fighting completely? Let me know your predictions in the comments. Until next time, guys, peace out.